Hey, what's up? It's Kit, and a different video now. We're gonna be opening a crab. I know that there are a lot of people who can't enjoy crab because they don't know how to take the meat off. And sad to say, my daughter is one of them. So pretty sure she's going to be watching this video. So at the very least, this video is for my daughter. Okay, I'm just sharing it with everyone else because my wife thinks that people should see how I deal with crab. Now, there's no such thing as a crab eating expert in the world. Okay, I wish there was. However, I did grow up eating a ton of these. Now, this technique works on every sort of crab that I have faced. I've used this technique in Japan for queen snow crabs. I've done this on mud crabs with really thick shells and king crabs, of course. But the most common crab is, of course, the swimming crab or the blue crab. Okay, so this is what we have a lot of in the Philippines, and this is what I'm showing you guys how I deal with it. This is the crab we have here. Okay, so best tools to use is not a fork. So when you're dining out outside of the Philippines, you have a fork and a knife. The knife is better to use if you're in the Philippines or everywhere else, of course. I used to use a spoon to to deal with the crab. Now, as far as the fork is concerned, it's a really bad idea because you don't really get a lot of I would say force transmitted because of how the fork is shaped. So when you knock the or hit the shell, the tines actually kind of absorb a lot of the vibration. It's just not a good tool to use. Okay, so we have a whole crab. Whoops, sorry. Uh, the very first thing, of course, is you have a dish to put your shells in. Okay, now let's start. Okay, this is a male crab, as you can see here from this flap. Females usually have like a fan shape. First, you take that off, flip it over, and then from the sides here, okay, you want to use this tip as a leverage, or if it's a type of crab that doesn't have that, just grab the sides, okay? Hold the legs and then peel that off. Depending on the kind of crab that you have, there's also going to be roe or crab butter, I guess you could call it that, here on the sides. Okay, so this is male, so you don't really have it, but you have fat, which is like good to eat. Okay, so basically you can scrape that off. That's a very good let me show you how it looks like. Okay, but there's that. Okay, so that's actually good meat. It's good to eat. Okay, right there, there's a lot actually, and for females you'd see roe, so that's gonna be very yellow. Okay, I'm gonna put that here. Now deal with the claws. You take the claws off, set it aside. We'll do the easy bit first. These are the gills, you don't eat that. Take the mandibles in front right there. And there's a reason for this, because you're gonna have a mini popsicle once you're done. So take that off. Okay, so you'll end up with that. Now take your fingers, hold the legs. You see that right there? Fingers right there, and then just push. Okay, that goes in there. Now these legs you take off like that. Okay, that has meat. Don't throw it. Okay, now all you have to do is just peel these things off. Now, what I do usually is just use my fingers, my thumb specifically, and I will, see, just use my thumb to take the meat off, push it out pretty much, just like that. See? See? Just push it out like so. See? You can use both thumbs. It's very efficient to do it like that, and it's quite fast. I could probably deal with the crab super fast with just my fingers, and then take the meat off like so. Actually, there are experts in this, huh? I just thought about it. These are the guys that actually take the meat off of the crabs. As far as crab eating experts are concerned, though, um, I don't believe there are. Now, after watching this video, you could be. Okay, so okay, there. It is a very involved process, and normally with this, you're actually eating and not just taking the meat off. Okay, so basically, when we get this meat, we actually take a handful of rice and eat. Okay, now you have a handle for this. See, take that. Okay, just like that. Example. Now, break this up here. You twist it. Okay, there's actually meat in this knuckle right here, and it's not hard. All you have to do is just press from the side here, okay, with your thumb, and the meat goes out just like that. Okay, same thing with the other side. Now, I want to show you this here. I break the knuckle off like so. Okay, and there's two ways to do this. It's either you use your thumb and slide it forward to grab the meat, or you can actually carefully crack the meat like that. Okay, so what happens is that the meat is it's inside here. Okay, and you use the claw of the crab to actually break open the shell, and then you can kind of peel out the meat. Okay, or you can just push it like a toothpaste. Okay, so normally what happens, see, no meat there, but normally what happens is when you break that open, you can either use this to loosen the meat up inside like so, and then push. Okay, so actually kind of easy that way. My favorite way is to crack this, and then see if I can do it here. No. So again, just push it. There are times when you can actually, depending on how the crab is cooked, there are times when you can just pull this out, and then the meat is in a see, you can't break this, not like the claws, which we will do later, but you can't do it like that, because if it's overcooked, then the shells become kind of soft. Okay, so actually do it quite fast if you're not talking. Okay, now it's just going to be a repeat of the other process. See? Thumb. Okay, same thing here. See? You just push with your thumb and the meat just pops out. Again, there is meat in that knuckle right there. Okay, just push so you can see. Every bit of meat you can take. Okay, now it's time to use the spoon or the knife. Now I like using the spoon. Okay, so what I do is I just try to crack it, okay, and then turn, and all you do is just crack it, just like that. Okay, now if it breaks off, that's fine. Okay, you'll see that the meat is actually kind of easier to take. So you can break this, crack it, and then depends on how meaty your crab is, but you crack it like that, and you'd be able to get access to the meat that's inside. Now there's hardly any meat that's left here. We pulled out most of it, but there's a lot of meat in the claws. And right there, once you crack it, you just slide the meat off just like that. Okay, you could use a cracked shell to actually pull more meat off, and that's it. Okay, now for this one, hopefully we'll be able to, sometimes you don't get it, but crack it. Okay, once it's cracked, turn. Okay, turn. A few taps, a few light taps actually, you get it. Okay, and then, okay, you wiggle it around to get that. And again, take that meat off just like that. Make sure that you actually use the claw and try to pry out meat that's kind of left in there. That's that. Okay, same type deal with this. Okay, sometimes you actually are able to pull everything off from that. If not, that's fine. Again, okay, crack, 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 like so. Okay, wiggle. So don't crack the orange part, crack the white part because it's softer. So this is basically the bottom. So what I'm doing is cracking from the top going down, and then it's more efficient that way rather than going from the bottom up. You don't use a lot of force. hitting from the top, but down at the base, it's actually tougher. So see here, take that, save that shell, that shard. Okay, be very careful when you're actually trying to crack the shell, because sometimes the spines will stab you. Okay, but right there, there's meat. Again, I use a shard to take the meat off, like that. Okay, or you could use the tip of the claw to pry out more meat, like that. You can check, of course, if there's still meat left. Sometimes you can use the hole from the back here to pull some meat off. Very little left in this one, but I don't want to waste meat. Okay. Again, for this, for mud crabs, this knuckle right here has some meat, but this one, there's very little. Okay, so once it's cracked, again, just lightly tap and then kind of rotate like that, and then even the dogs agree. There we go. But that's it. That's all of the meat of the crab, and hope you learned something.